almost weekend. Whew, it's been a busy week, you guys. It really has been crazy busy for me. I don't know how it's been for you guys, but goodness. So I'm giving it just a second because it looks like I'm having a little bit of internet connectivity issues. So give me just a second. Oh, I see one. I see two. I see three. There's Kathy, Motorcrafts, Anita. So glad to see you guys. How's the... Do I need to wiggle? Just kind of out of wiggling when we get started. So let me know. Wiggle. I did wiggle. Does this sound better now? Little wiggle. Hey, Joan, my friend. Hi, Donna. Hi, everybody. So glad to see you guys. So very low on sound. Well, poo. Can't hear me. Okay. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? That's going to be my new tagline. Unfortunately, I don't even like it. I don't like that tagline at all. I'm telling you, I'm asking Santa for a new iPad. I've tried microphones. It's definitely not the microphones. So, guys, it is pouring down rain here. Absolutely. Yeah, cinnamon buns. Can you hear me now? Sound is good. Awesome. So it is dumping rain, and it is one of those days where, not that I don't love being with you guys, because I absolutely do, but man, I wish I could just curl up with a blanket and take a nap. It is so gross outside right now. It's not even cold. It's just rainy and gross, you know? I do love the rain, but this time of year, if it's going to rain, I want it to be a cold rain. Does that make any sense at all? Probably not. I don't know. Hi, Wanda. Maggie says she hears me loud and clear. Fantastic. So guys, if you don't mind to give this a share, the more the merrier, as always. It is very much appreciated. I know there are some groups that you can't share to, but if you can and they don't mind, definitely give it a share. Some groups are kind of picky about that, and that's okay. I mean, I'm kind of like that with my own group too, so it's completely understandable, you know, but always check with your group's rules and regulations so you don't get yourself booted for doing something that I asked you to do. That would make me feel awful. So I just want you guys to know that it's appreciated if you can share it, but if you can't, that's okay. I need a new cord. It's not the cord because I've tried so many different cords. It's the actual little input on the iPad, which makes me really sad because it's so much cheaper to buy a cord. So much cheaper to buy a cord. So, yeah, let's talk. Well, since I was talking about groups, let's talk about, Kathleen had a cinnamon bun for breakfast. Cinnamon bun. So, since I was talking about groups, let's hit on that really quickly before we move into the project. Hi, Becky, how you doing? Miss Ruth, so good to see you. So for those of you who are not part of the Sarah Ellis Designs Community Facebook group, I invite you to come and hang out. Join the group. Make sure you answer the questions. That's how we know you're not a troll and how we know that you are not going to spam with all kinds of crazy things. So make sure you answer those entry questions and our moderators will let you into the group where you will be able to find lots and lots of inspiration. It's a place where you can come and post any of your jewelry designs that you've made. All I ask is that you don't sell, right? You don't offer to sell any of it, but you can post as many pictures as you want to of all of your creations, whether they are creations based on something that I have taught you how to do or just something that you really love and you want to share with the group. I'm all about sharing the creativity, the inspiration, and keeping the ideas flowing. It's a great place for if you get creative block to just kind of scroll through and look at what other people are doing. Sometimes that's all it takes to kind of get you out of the design funk. So, hey Janice, haven't seen you in a while, my friend. So definitely come and be a part of the Sarah Ellis Designs community. It is also a place where the snack shenanigans happen, you guys, and that is coming soon. I have a brand new snack shenanigans planned. I'm waiting on one more item to show up. It should be here on Sunday. So be on the lookout for the time and and date of the next snack shenanigans. For those of you who do not know what snack shenanigans is, every once in a while, just for fun, I do a Facebook Live that is not jewelry related, and I eat snacks from all over the world. I try really disgusting things and some really yummy, tasty things. But it's just a fun kind of laugh, because this year has been so hard on everybody, and I feel like going into the next year, not much is going to change like right away. So, we're just going to keep the laughs going. And if you are interested in that, please come join the community. It's lots of fun. I actually have some plans in the works where I'm going to make it a little bit more interactive. So our next snack shenanigans will go just as planned, but I'm planning on something a little bit different coming up for the new year. I was thinking that maybe, and I'll post all of the details about this in the Facebook group, but I was thinking that maybe possibly we would do something where maybe I could convince one of you to play Bean Boozled with me during a Facebook Live. If you don't know what Bean Boozled is, it's Jelly Belly jelly beans, and they've got a game where some of the jelly beans taste good and some of them taste not so good. So if you're interested in seeing that, or if you're interested in participating in that just for fun, keep your eyes peeled, keep those peepers open, because I will have all of that posted in the group as soon as I can kind of iron out the details for that. Should be a lot of fun. So not only are you going to find jewelry making, education, inspiration, and things like that, but it's also a fun place to come and just hang out with your friends, spend some time getting to know each other, and laughing. Laughing is like, humor is my way of dealing with everything, you guys. And I know that it's not everybody's way of dealing with things, but sometimes a good belly laugh really changes your entire day. So if I can get a good belly laugh out of you, my job is done. Also in the group, it is a great place to ask questions, and there are no dumb questions. Okay, if you have a question, I don't care what it is about jewelry, post it on the group, send me a message. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to educate you. I am huge on product education, technique education. That is where all of my knowledge on jewelry making is based, is in education. That was really, that was driven home very hard when I very first started working with Bead. So that is at the utmost highest of my skills to give you guys. If you've got questions and I don't know the answer, I'm not ashamed to tell you that I don't know the answer, but I will certainly help you find it. So yeah, come join the community. It's fun. It's a great place to hang out. And yeah, that's it. The end. All right, so let's talk about today's project. Okay, so today's project has a kind of a double thing going on. Okay, first of all, we're using some of the new boho beads from Jesse James Beads, and we're using beads from 2 of the new bundles that were released just recently. Joan has dropped the link, so you guys can go check those out. But that's not the only thing that we're doing in the live. This project is going to be easy, but it's also a stress reliever, because we're going to be using flat artistic wire and no nylon hammer today, guys. We're using a chasing hammer. Like, we're actually going to bang on some metal. So flat artistic wire is one of my favorite wires. I know I say everything is my favorite, but I really love flat artistic wire just because there are so many possibilities with it. And one of my favorite things to do to it is to put it on the block and hit it with a hammer. And sometimes, if the belly laugh doesn't get you going for the day, maybe whacking something with a hammer will. So if I can't get you to belly laugh, maybe I can convince you to grab a hammer and play with some metal, right? Because it's just fun. It's good stress relief. So that's what we're going to be doing. It's not going to be a hard project. This is super easy peasy pumpkin squeezy. But sometimes it doesn't have to be hard. Let's just make it fun. And hitting some metal with a hammer, that's my idea of a good time. So That's what we are going to be doing today. Also, if you've got any questions, even if they are not related to today's project, please don't hesitate to ask those questions. Sometimes I don't see them go by because the comment section zooms by, but you know, if it's something super duper important, one of my designated yellers will definitely let me know, okay? All right, guys, let's get to it, shall we? All right, I'm excited. I'm really excited to these beads too, because I really love them. Let me know if the sound is okay. Cinnamon buns, cinnamon buns. All right, so I've got my little bowl here. I also have my block. I don't know if you noticed that sneaking by. I got my bowl, got my block, got my hammer, and I'm going to adjust the light just a little bit here. I'm going to move you guys down just a little bit. Sound is good? Okay, good. All right, so there are 2 bead bundles. There's actually 3 boho bead bundles over on the Jesse James Beads website under What's New. There is a really large bundle, and I actually have that bundle as well, but I'm going to focus on the 2 smaller bundles, and I'm going to show them to you, and then we're going to kind of play with them. So let me pull that up over here on the computer real quick so I can get the names right. I don't want to mess these up. Okay, so this one is the Christmas. Nope, this one is not the Christmas. Just kidding. This one is Tibet Boho bead bundle. Okay, and gosh, I'm so obsessed with these. Like, I'm seriously obsessed with these beads. Ooh, you like my bracelet? Thank you. Like a little sparkle. So, all right, these are the first little bundle. And I think everybody's bundles are going to be a little bit different. I'm not sure. I say that because I don't think mine are exactly like the ones that are on the site. And there's actually, I think there's like 3 missing from mine that I kind of put somewhere else. But the main good ones are here. I mean, they're all good ones, but so yeah, I'm just obsessed with these. And like I said, I don't know if everybody's are exactly the same, but I feel like some of the smaller ones everybody is going to get. Aren't they beautiful? They're just so different. I think these are my favorite. Really love them so much. I'm just kind of in awe of them. I don't know what it is. I've just really been feeling this look lately, so that's what we're going to use for our project. We're going to use some of those, and then I'm going to dump out the second one. So the second one is Christmas in Tibet bundle, and I'm just going to dump it into the same container, okay? It has more of the smaller beads in kind of your classic Christmas colors. You got your reds, your greens, your whites. There are some blue in here as well. Just really beautiful. And one thing that I want to mention is that, guys, these have a little bit larger of a hole. And so we're gonna thread ours onto some leather. So for our stringing material for today, I'm using a piece of leather. So a 1.5 or a 1.5 to a 2 millimeter is going to be the right size for your boho beads. Anything thicker than that, I think you might be able to wiggle them on there, but it might be a little bit of a challenge. And I want them to still have some of that movement room. So I don't want to squeeze them on there too much. But just so you know, that's what our stringing material is going to be. Also for this project, I was digging around in my stash and I came upon these tiny little Czech glass beads, and I don't know where they came from. I've probably had them for a million years. I mean, I've been growing a bead stash. Sounds like a mustache. I've been growing my bead stash for a long time, and so unfortunately I can't really say for sure where these came from, but they are just little red, cherry red Czech glass little druck beads, and I believe they're 3.5 millimeter, but you can do this project with 3 millimeter, 3.5 millimeter, or 4 millimeter, because I know like 3.5 millimeter is not the most common size bead ever, so it may be that you need to use 4s for this project, and that's totally fine. I also had some of these brass charms that, again, I have no idea where they came from, and I have a ton of them. I must have gotten them in a D-stash or something like that, because I've got a bunch of them, but we're going to add these because I thought they kind of looked, you know, they're kind of the same feel as the boho beads. So I thought we would add some of those to our project as well. just so you know where we're going with our project, okay? And I completely forgot to pull up the picture. So if you guys will give me just a second, I know that's like so rude and I apologize, but I want to be sure I have the picture pulled up so that I put this together in the same order that I did originally, because it's pretty. So give me just a second. I normally have it on my computer and I completely forgot. Okay, now we're cooking with grease. I got it. Okay, so as far as the artistic wire is concerned, artistic wire comes in a couple of different colors. This is from Bead. Comes in a couple of different colors. You can get this in the silver color, the gold color, as well as an antique bronze color. I believe they still make that one. And it also comes in a couple of different sizes. So this is a 21 gauge wire. That's what the thickness is of it. And then you can get it in different millimeters. We are using the 5 millimeter, but it also comes in a 3 millimeter, and I'm using the gold color. Just again, because I thought that it went really well with like the brass accents that are in our bead collection here. Guilty as charged. You guys are talking about your bead hoards. Like, you know, I know I'm not the only one. So, hi Susie, how you doing? All right, now you guys, so I've cut my pieces of flat artistic wire. Let me grab my ruler here. I've got 5 pieces and I cut them in varying lengths, okay? So the longest piece is not quite 2 inches. You could probably get away with going ahead and making that an even 2 inches, okay? So that'll be the center piece, that'll be the longest one. And then I've got 2 that are a little bit shorter. These guys are closer to 1.5 inches long each. So there are 2 of those. And then the shortest piece is about 1.25 inches. Okay, so I've got some staggered pieces and I'll show you how these are going to kind of go in our necklace so you get an idea of that kind of tiered. So they're not going to be this close together in our design, but just so you know, that's kind of the way that they are going to be laid out in our necklace when we get to that point. Okay, so the first thing we get to do, yay! Well, actually the second thing we get to do. First we're going to do our loops on these and then we are going to hammer them. So to create the loops on these, there's actually a couple of things you can do here. I feel like the focus is having trouble here. Okay. So the flat artistic wire, you can turn a loop on the end, which is exactly what we're going to do. However, if you've got a metal punch, you absolutely can punch a hole in this and just add a jump ring to it, which originally with my design, I turned a loop here and put a jump ring, or I'm sorry, punched a hole here, added a jump ring and added a dangle. And then I decided that the dangles were just too much. So I took that out. But please feel free to do however you want to do. Just know that if you've got a metal punch, it's perfect for this 21 gauge flat artistic wire. They both work together beautifully. It's not a hard thing to punch a hole in other words. If you don't have a metal punch, you can always just take a hammer and a nail, usually just like a, not a real thick nail, just one of those little tiny, wall nails that you would use to hang a picture, not anything super duper. Okay, I'm going to be using my stepped bell making pliers to turn a loop on the end. If you don't have these, you can use your small bell making pliers. It's a little bit harder to use your round nose pliers because they are tapered. So I find that it makes a better loop if you use something that's not tapered. But if you've only got round nose pliers, totally go for it. Karen says, or a drill. Yeah, you absolutely can drill on these too, which makes them extra fun. I like to use power tools. Power tools and hammers on all my jewelry. That's yes please. All right, so I'm just going to grab the end of that wire between the smallest barrels of my stepped bell making pliers and I'm going to just turn a loop. Now it is a little, it takes a little bit of strength here, I'm not going to lie, to create a loop, and you're probably not going to get a completely closed loop, but that's okay because it's not going to slip off of the leather. So don't feel like you have to completely close that loop up. It's not going to come off the leather, it's not going to fall this direction. Now it could slide off the end until we get it, nice and secured on the end, but it doesn't have to be completely closed. Okay. So I'm going to turn a loop on all of my pieces and then we're going to put them on the block and give them a good whack. Okay, so I'm just going to turn my loop here. And like I said, it can be tough. I'm not gonna lie. This is, I mean, you know, it's sheet metal pretty much. So you've really gotta give it a little extra oomph. And your circle is not gonna be a complete circle. It's gonna be more like a teardrop. So you can see when I turn it this direction, it's more of a teardrop shape, okay? You're not gonna get a perfectly round loop, and that's okay, because you're not even gonna see it. You're only gonna see the flat surface of this wire on your design. So it makes no difference what that loop ends up looking like, as long as it's gonna be secure on your piece of leather, okay? So don't stress about the little things, guys. All right, turn in another one. Okay, so there's that one. And we're going to do 2 more. Now, one of the questions that I get asked very often about the flat artistic wire, and I'll go ahead and address it because I feel like that question will probably come up here at some point. Go ahead and turn this one a little bit. Uh-oh. Kind of bent it a little bit more than I needed to. So one of the questions that comes up quite frequently about flat artistic wire is, what do you do? What do you cut it with? Number 1, and number 2, what do you do with the jagged edge? So I cut mine with a flush cutter, obviously, because I want a flush cut. I don't want, you know, I don't want an angled cut on that. If all you've got is, if you don't have a flush cutter, that's okay, but just know that your cut is going to have a little bit of an angle to it. It's not going to be, you know, it's not going to be nice and clean. Still completely, speaking of clean, no, but it's going to have a little extra of the kind of jaggedy edge than the flush cut will, okay? And that's okay. You can clean it off with an emery board. Where's mine? So if you don't have a metal file, which I do, but it is somewhere in this room. I have absolutely no idea where. So instead of digging through my mess to find my metal file, which you can use if you've got one, that's great. Or you can just grab an emery board. I've got one of these that stays in my desk drawer that I don't use for my fingers at all, obviously, as you can tell. But I do use it for metal. And flat artistic wire is definitely one of those where kind of depends on what you're going to do with it, but we're actually going to kind of change the surface of this wire, so I don't feel like we need to do a lot of filing to it, but just to kind of knock off any of those little shards of wire that are, or the shards of metal that are left behind. Just hit it right at the corners and along the edge, you know, and then just kind of sweep those pieces away. You don't have to do any major filing to this, okay? Can you use memory wire cutters for a flush cut? You know, I'm not entirely sure. Maybe. I generally don't use my my memory wire cutters for anything other than memory wire, but I know other people that do. So I'm not real sure, to be completely honest with you. I know that like your heavy duty cutters will definitely do the job. Oh, hey, there's Sarah. She said, oh, hey. Yeah, exactly. A Dremel can do a lot, you guys. Dremels. I've got a Dremel out in the garage somewhere, and man, you talk about a fun little tool to zip and zap around. It's a cool one, and it works. It's really fun to use. We ought to do a Dremel project. I'll put that on the list of things to do. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to put these individually, one at a time, on the block. And I went ahead and turned the loops. I'm going to sit the loop off to the side of the block, as you can see, so that I can lay that wire nice and flat. Don't lay it up on the block with your loop up like that. Make sure the block or the loop stays off to the side, okay? And then we're going to use our chasing hammer. So we're not using the nylon jaw hammer. We're going to use our round chasing hammer. And if you want to use the flat side to make like hatch marks, you absolutely can do that. But I'm going to kind of make the dapping on mine. Yeah, somebody says, yes, do a Dremel project. That'll be fun. Yeah. All right, let's see. Somebody else asked a question. Will you try the memory wire cutters and tell us? I will. Guys, don't let me forget. I've got a spare piece of the wire here. After we dap on all these, I'll unhook my microphone and I'll go grab the memory wire cutters and we'll test it out. No problem. I'm more than happy to do that. Okay, so I don't want to do the dapping on the entire piece. I just want to keep it kind of concentrated down here towards the bottom, like 2/3, because we're going to put, remember, those little Czech glass rounds on here as well. So they will inevitably cover up. Now, if you just feel like getting out your aggressions and dapping the whole thing, please go for it. Don't let me stop you. But the only part of it you're going to see is going to be like the lower 2/3 of each piece, okay? So you just want to tap, okay? You don't want to like whack it really hard unless you just feel like you totally need to get some of that aggression out. But we just want to tap the surface, and you can see how it's already changing the surface of the wire. Gives it kind of that tortoise shell. That's just what it reminds me of, because you know how like tortoise shell looks? That's kind of what it reminds me of. All right, so now you can see, well, if I can get rid of the glare, you can really see how it changes up this. Is that not fun? I love that. I mean, I know that that is just like super easy peasy. There's nothing hard about that, but what a change, right? Something as simple as just hitting it with a hammer just makes the coolest change to the surface of that wire. So we're going to do that to all of our pieces. So we've got one down. We're going to do 4 more. Okay, so just putting another one down. Okay, I might go a little bit higher. There's the other one. The glare. It's hard for you to see it when the glare is so bad. Yeah, I love textured metal too. And I'm like, I think what I want for, a lot of times after Christmas is over, I've got 3 kids, so I spend a bundle on Christmas. And after Christmas, after the first of the year, I usually treat myself to something new, and it's usually something jewelry related. I believe I'm going to invest in some hammers that have some different textures to them, because I do. I really, really love, I love metal, and I love textured metal, and I love like being able to change the structure of metal myself, you know? It's just something I've always kind of been drawn to. Okay, there's another one. It doesn't take a lot, you know, doesn't take a whole lot. And if you hit it really, really hard, you can kind of splay out the edges if you want to, kind of make a paddle shape of it if you want to. But I'm trying to keep it pretty much the same shape. But I mean, you really can totally manipulate this wire and really change the entire surface of it, you know, and splay it out, make it wider, make it thinner. A lot of cool things that you can do. All right, we've got 2 more pieces. Okay, there's that one. We've got 1 more. And if you'll notice, I'm definitely holding my fingers like way out of the way, because about a week ago, maybe a little bit more than a week ago, I was hammering on the block, and I was actually not using this one. I was using the nylon hammer, and I was holding a piece. I can't even remember how I was holding it. I believe I was holding it like this, and I was hitting it hard. Like, I must have been having a really hard day, because I mean, I was just whacking the crap out of it. And I don't know if you can see, but I hit myself, and that is the leftovers. Just that tiny little speck is the leftover from a bruise that was underneath this nail. This finger, even with just the nylon hammer, it felt like I slammed it in a car door, which I've done before as well. But you got to be careful, because even the nylon hammer, if you are going at it with some force, like I really, really hurt myself. So with the metal, be doubly careful if you're using a dapping hammer that is not nylon, because I can't even imagine what it would have felt like to hit it with that. Okay, so we've got our metal pieces ready to go. These are ready for a little extra zhuzh, and then we're going to add our gorgeous boho beads to this as well. Okay, so we're going to do just a little bit of wire wrapping. We're not going to do anything major here. Let me go ahead and get my little container here ready to go. I want to show you this little container too. It's not like it's anything super, you know, state of the art or crazy brand new or anything like that. It's just, a lot of people ask me about storage and things that I have around on my desk. Is this little flocked, you know, it's coated in that kind of flocked material, little triangle. I get these from Bead. They're really, really inexpensive. They come in a couple of different sizes. I keep these around just to kind of keep little piecey parts separated. So a lot of times when I come to do a live, I have 3 or 4 of these off to the side. One of them will have my findings in it. The other one will have smaller beads in it, my clasps and things like that. If you don't have any of these little containers, I highly, highly recommend them, particularly for those of you who like to use evil seed beads, because you can use the corners to dump them back into the container, which is handy. So just a little side note, if you're interested in those little containers, stuff like that, people ask me about all the time. Yeah, Kathleen says if you tape down your piece, no hammers or no fingers get hammered. I know, and I have painter's tape here. You would think I know better, but you know, what can I say? Okay, so we're going to wire wrap our little Czech glass beads to these guys, and I'm going to be using some 24 gauge wire for this. If you want to use 26 gauge, that's totally fine as well, and it doesn't take very long sections of this. You just need a couple of inches, you know, just a little bit to work with. Okay, so let's start with one of the smaller pieces here. I'm only going to wire wrap 2 beads to this. That glare is just really making it very difficult for you guys to see anything. I apologize. So I'm going to lay my piece of 24 gauge wire flat across the surface of the flat artistic wire, give myself a little bit of a tail here, and I'm going to just wrap around, okay, the piece of the flat artistic wire. Come back here to the back and kind of lay down. Okay, and I want to wrap around about 4 times. So there's 3 wraps, and then I've got my tail going kind of at an angle. Now I need to trim off, you see that little tail back there, I need to trim that off. And I also need to kind of squeeze this a little bit. You can use your flat nose pliers. You can use your nylon jaw pliers. Whoa, whatever it is that you want to use to just kind of bite down on those wraps to really kind of smush them right up against the surface of the flat artistic wire. Okay, and then of course you can come to the front and pinch them this direction as well to make them lined up nice and neat. I'm not really super concerned with how nice and neat they are this direction. I just want to be sure more than anything that they're nice and secure. Okay, so now I want to add one of my little Czech glass beads. So I'm just going to drop that little guy on there, and I want my wire to be coming across the surface of the flat wire at an angle. Okay, and then I'm going to wrap all the way around again, and then back up the front so you can kind of see what I've done. So about 3 or 4 wraps, coming across with my bead, wrap around again, and then come back out. So you've got one singular wire wrap in between because we're going to put on one more bead. Okay, so I'm just going to pop that guy on there and wrap around again. My little piece of wire was a little bit too short, honestly. And I think maybe I will take this, well, yeah, I'm going to take this one off. Let's do it again, because this piece of wire that I cut, which is weird for me because you guys know that I always cut more wire than I actually need, but that time I cut a little short. That might be a first. So let's cut another piece and let's go at it again, okay? Which doesn't hurt for you guys to see it a couple of times anyways. All right, so again, I'm just going to start my wire wrap kind of close to the top. I'm not all the way up here at the top. I'm a little ways down, but here's the thing. You can kind of adjust this and decide where you want the placement of these wraps and your beads. However you want them to go. You can have them more towards the top or more towards the bottom. It's completely up to you. I just want you to see more than anything how easy it is to wire wrap to this flat artistic wire and how easy it is to really change the structure of it as well. All right, so let's go again with the beads. So I'm going to drop down one of our little beads. Okay, lay it right down where you want it to go, wrap around, and then come back. Okay, so that's what we've got, and we're going to take another one. And just like that. And then I'm going to wrap around again 3 or 4 times down here at the bottom. That's why I didn't have enough wire to get all those wraps in at the bottom, and I really want it to match the top. Okay, and then you can kind of slide it around a little bit. I've already kind of squished mine down, so there's not going to be a whole lot of movement, but you can slide it up a bit so that you've got more. There we go, it'll slide a little bit more. You've got more of that texture that we added kind of poking out at the bottom. Okay, so still got everything going on here, and I know that texture is not a lot, right? I mean, but it's subtle, but it's enough. It's enough, and it was fun. I don't care if you can see it or not. It was fun. No, no, I do care if you can see it. But again, just kind of cleaning up my wire wraps a little bit. And we've got one ready to go. Now we are going to do the rest of these. Okay, so this is the one that's going to match that one. Looks like a hair barrette. Does look like, it would be a really pretty hair barrette, wouldn't it? I like that. All right, so I'm going to do the other one. Okay. I think 4 reps is probably too many. You'd probably be better off with just 3, but live and learn. Okay, I'm going to trim off this tail back here on the back and then kind of push everything down nice and flat. Okay, and we're going to pop on another one of the beads. So for our 4 short pieces, we're only going to use 2 beads, but for our long piece that goes in the center, we're going to put 3 beads on it. And guys, you could use Swarovski little crystals here for this as well. That'd look really pretty. You just don't want to overpower. I don't think that you can, honestly, but I don't want to steal too much thunder from these gorgeous boho beads, because I really want those to be the main event, if you will, of our necklace. And sometimes Swarovski can kind of take over, so you got to be careful when you make your choices. Definitely, if you're going to do Swarovski crystals instead of Czech glass beads, you definitely want to make sure that you keep them nice and small. The bigger the Swarovski crystal, the more they're going to take away from everything else. So, which is the truth with all things, I kind of feel. So, all right, so we're just going to keep going. So those of you who have been a part of Destination North Pole, have you been having a good time? I know that I had such a good day yesterday. It was so fun. We had such a good time. Everybody in the comments, oh my gosh, everybody was having such a good time. It was really cool to see everybody enjoying themselves. All right. Beautiful. It is beautiful. Thank you. It is beautiful. Okay. All right, now we're going to add another one. Rosanna says, yes, yesterday was a blast. It was so much fun. I got to tell you though, by the end of the day, I was absolutely exhausted. I was so tired, but so worth it. We had such a good time. All right, so there's that one. All Jean's wearing her Whimsy Wonder earrings right now. Yay! I love it. I love it. Did you miss something, Fern? What did you miss? We're just talking about Destination North Pole over on the Jesse James Beads, our Christmas event that's going on. Okay, whoops. So there's those, or that one. We've got 2 more to go. And you can see this doesn't take a whole lot. And one thing that I find that is kind of interesting, and it's probably because this is flat, but for those of you who kind of struggle with wire wrapping smaller wire around round wire, right? If you struggle kind of coiling round wire around a larger gauge, this is a really good way to practice, just to get the feel for it, because it's nice and flat. And you know, it's always easier to kind of start out bigger and then go a little bit smaller. So get yourself, if you've got some trouble with that, get yourself a little package of the flat artistic wire, because it's great to just kind of wind around it and really kind of get the feel for the wire wrapping. Practice with it a bit before you, you know, wire wrap around a round piece of wire. It definitely helps, you know. Good way to practice. And you can see it doesn't take a whole lot, because the wire, I mean, it just naturally does what you want it to do, right? It lays up against that flat surface really, really well without having to really struggle with it much at all, which also makes you feel very accomplished, which I also enjoy very much. All right, so there's that one. I'm gonna trim off, and then we're gonna kind of squeeze flat again. You really want to mash down on the ends in particular, because you don't want those to pop up and like get hung on your clothing, right? Melanie, good, yay. Melanie says, I'm going to be making these the rest of the day if anybody needs me. That's what I like to hear. Wait till you see the necklace all put together. It's really fun. All right, so we've got 1 more to go, and this guy's got 3. We've got 3 beads to add to this one, okay? So go ahead and get it started. Slide that up. Okay. I'll trim that off here in just a few minutes after we get all of our beads on here. So we are going, yeah, bracelet links would look awesome as bracelet links. We're going to add 3 beads to this one, so we needed a little bit longer piece of wire. And again, you can use your metal hole punch, or, you know, just a nail to punch a hole. Whoops, I didn't mean to go in the bottom. And you can dangle things from these, which is also really, really fun. But because of the way that our necklace is laid out, the reason I took that part off of the necklace is because they just weren't hanging the way that I wanted them to. So you'll see when we put this together how putting your flat wire pieces a little bit closer together would make it make more sense. But it still turns out to be a really cool necklace, and it's easy. We're almost done, believe it or not. We're just going to string it together. We've pretty much done the entire project. We're keeping it easy peasy today, but I'm telling you the results are super cool and fun. Okay, so let's kind of lay this out so you guys can see these guys. Wanda's being the hall monitor and she's not being nice. Wanda, what's she doing? She's walking around with her ruler, slapping it on her hand. Oh gosh. Okay, so those are our metal pieces. Now, just for a second, okay, can we just look? Well, we can't because this dang glare is in the way. But let's just appreciate the beauty of this as it is, okay? Because even if you didn't want to make a beady fun piece with this, this would still be really beautiful just by itself, strung on some leather, right? Tie some knots on either ends and boom, you're done. You've got a really beautiful piece. So this flat artistic wire, I mean, it's even without beads on it and you just hammer it, gosh, it looks so good. So beautiful. But we are going to make ours just even more. So let's take our little charms here and go ahead and put some jump rings on these, and then we'll just string this whole thing up and you'll see just how cool this necklace. And I keep saying that, and like there's always a chance that like you guys could be like, oh my god, that's totally ugly. I could be setting you up to be like, oh, this is going to be the coolest necklace ever, and then you see it and you're like, ew. I realize that's possible. So I'm just going to use, these are artistic wire brass colored jump rings. And the only problem I have with the artistic wire jump rings is that you see that gap in there? Sometimes it's hard to get them to close completely. You really kind of have to nudge them into shape. I do like them though. It's a really good sturdy jump ring because they're 18 gauge, so they're nice and thick. But they can be temperamental because they are so thick. Really kind of have to coax them into that closed. Where did the charms come from? You know what? I'm not really sure. I've had them. I wish I could give you, an exact place. I don't know. They were just in my stash. I found them when I was cleaning out and rearranging a few weeks ago and knew that I wanted to use them. I just wasn't sure what I wanted to use them with, and this just seemed to be the right project. But I honestly don't know where they came from. I wish I could give you a better answer. I know that's not what you wanted to hear. I'm sorry. All right, so now we have our charms ready to go. Now we're going to string up a pretty necklace. Let's just do this, shall we? All right, so I'm just going to use some leather, and I'm going to, let's see. Let's start in the middle. So that's usually how I do things. I don't know why. I just do. So that's going to be our centerpiece, is the long one here. And then I'm going to use, remember, this whole thing was about our boho beads here. Don't want you to have forgotten about those. So these two that I'm absolutely obsessed with, those are going to go on either side. And see, they've got a nice large hole, so they're going to fit beautifully on this leather. I believe that this leather is 2 millimeter. Let me double check that though, because I don't want to steer you wrong. It's either 2 millimeter or it's 1.5. So I'm using 1.5 millimeter leather for this, but I believe that you could get a 2 millimeter leather through these beads for sure. I wouldn't go any thicker than that though. Okay, now I'm going to thread on the next. So I've got one of those on either side. Okay, I'm going to thread on these guys. What gauge thickness is the metal? So it is 21 gauge and it is 5 millimeters in width. Okay, hold on. No, I lost my picture. Okay, hold on. I'm referring back to the picture I took of this yesterday and it closed. So I just want to be sure that I put my beads on in the right order here. Okay, so these guys were next. Okay, Okay, so I'm going to put one of these on either side of that. I know you guys can't see, I apologize. Okay. Now we're going to put on our shorter, I feel like this is, okay. Put one of the shorter ones on the other side as well. Okay. Now you can see if you had punched holes in these, which I had originally done, and then hung dangles, they don't hang, you know, they all want to come, gravity takes over and makes them hang funny. They don't, you know. So that's the only reason why I didn't add dangles to the bottoms of these pieces, but I really, really wanted to. I tried. I really, really tried. All right, so now I'm going to thread on some of the little tube ones. I'm going to put a tube bead on there, one of those tube Tibet beads. I'm going to thread on one of the charms, another one of the tubes, and another charm. And then I'm just going to repeat that over here on the other side. And you'll see once this is hanging how really cool this looks. At least I think it does. Some of you out there, this is not going to be your style, and that's totally okay. But this is, you know, this is different. And if you're still making last minute gifts, this is a fun one. If you've got that one person in your life that, like, you know, they really like eclectic, different looking jewelry, this is definitely going to fit the bill for that. And it's doubly cool because it's a handmade piece, and then it has these beautiful Tibetan beads with the enamel inlays in them. I mean, it just, such a pretty and different kind of design. So there you can see, well, sort of see what it's going to look like. So now that's it. Like, that's the project. Boom, we're done. The only thing we need to do now is we need to finish off the ends of our leather. And there are a couple of different things that you can do to finish off the end of your leather. You can obviously just tie a knot and tie a jump ring into your knot, right? You can take the end, thread it through a jump ring, fold it over, and then wire wrap. Actually, I think that's what I'm gonna do. Originally, what I was gonna do is I was gonna use these little cord ends, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to fight with those. I want to show, because not everybody has these cord ends. I want to show you, you know, that wire can solve a lot of your problems. Where can you get the flat wire? So the flat wire is artistic flat wire. It's a Beadalon product. You can either get it from the Beadalon website, or you can grab some over on the Jesse James Beads website as well. So that's what those long metal pieces are, Marianne. These are pieces of flat artistic wire that we hammered on the block with a chasing hammer. So super fun. Really, really fun. All right, so if you don't want to tie any knots and you don't have any cord ends, then you can always do this little trick, which works with just about any kind of cord. You know, just fold it over with your jump ring in place, and then, whoops, take a piece of wire here that it was getting away from me, and then you can just do some messy wire wrapping, right? It doesn't have to be beautiful wire wrapping up here. I mean, it can be, right? But I mean, more than anything, you just want to make it nice and secure. That's really the biggest thing. And then of course you can trim off, you know, your tail, and you want to tuck in your ends if you can. Sometimes you can't. If you can't, just trim them really, really close to that leather so that they don't sneak out and poke anybody. That's definitely not a good feeling on the back of the neck, I can promise you. You know, but if you can still manage to tuck it in. I don't know if I can tuck this one in or not. I don't think I can. I'm just gonna have to cut it real close and then smash it really good with my pliers. Hi, welcome on in. Okay, and so I'm going to trim, because that's a little longer than what I want. And honestly, you can trim all the way up to here if you want to, but I am going to leave a little extra sticking out. Okay, so there's one end. Super easy. Hold on, let me hold it up and measure it a little bit. So my other jump ring, and I should go ahead and put the clasp on this, but because I'm holding the spot where I need to fold the leather, I'll unfortunately have to open that jump ring here in just a second. But that's okay. That's okay. All right, and then just going to take another piece of my wire, and I'm just using the scraps that I had that we were using. Just wrap it around. All you want is just to make sure that it's nice and secure, right? And they look pretty similar. They're cousins. They're not twins. Okay, and again, just really make sure that you can pinch and tuck those ends. Okay, I'm going to open this one up and put our lobster clasp on it. Yeah, you could, there are all different kinds of ways that you can finish this off. If you don't want to do it this way, you can use the ribbon ends, the ribbon clamps, you know, any different kind of cord ends are going to work. The glue-on cord ends will work as well. There are so many different finishing techniques for leather and just cord in general. I was just, I originally was going to use some cord ends, but I thought, you know, not everybody's got the cord ends, and if you want to kind of reproduce this project, wire is something that a lot of people do have, so you can always use the wire in a pinch, you know, which I think kind of goes, honestly, with the whole design. Like that, that finishing kind of goes with the theme, really. You know, I don't know, there's just something about it that kind of yes, disclaimer, no wire was wasted in the making of this necklace. All right, yeah, they do have crimp ends for loops with leather. Yeah, there's so many different things you can do with cord at the end. Like, I don't ever want anybody to think that like my technique here is the end all be all, because it's not. It's just, mine was just quick and easy. So, all right, I'm going to put this on the bust, and then I'm going to turn you guys around, wiggle our cord a little bit, and I'll show you what this looks like. And I realize this is not everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay. But I'm telling you, you know, when you make gifts for other people, you know, sometimes you got people in your gift giving group that, you know, they're not like everybody else. Oops, sorry. Uh-oh. Almost knocked you guys out. Almost knocked you out of the tripod there. Okay, hold on. Wiggle time. All right, how's it sound? Does it sound okay? Let me know. Give me a thumbs up. Microphone's trying to wander away on me. Whew. Everything sounds okay? All right, good. Good. All right, so I'm going to show it to you. Hold on. I'm going to pull up the leather just a little bit. And there you go. You can see it. Kind of tribal, right? Kind of different. I mean, this is really different for anything that we've done here in a while. I personally am a huge fan of this style. I love the Tibetan beads. I love the metal. I mean, I love everything about this. I really do. I'm always big on sparkle and bling, but sometimes I'm just really drawn to like natural stones, the Tibetan inlay, the enamel inlay, and the little pieces of things. Like, I really am in love with all of that. So, like I said, I know this might not be for everybody, but you know, sometimes with your gift giving, you got to think outside of your normal clientele. And this is definitely going to be up somebody's alley if it's not yours, right? And easy to put together. Plus, we got to hammer on that wire, which was just fun, right? Get out some aggression. So yeah, give you guys a close-up of it so you can kind of see. You could still hang a dangle from this one, but the others, it just really doesn't want to hang correctly. But now if you put those If you put the flat artistic wire pieces a little bit closer together, any dangle that you put from the bottom of it is going to hang a little bit better. Wonder what it looks like on me. Probably not so great with this t-shirt, but how much you want to buy it? Oh, I don't know. It's hard to give this one up because, oh, I love that. I gotta move my microphone. Hold on. Oh, my microphone is in the way. Let me put it in the middle. It is always a struggle with this dang microphone, I'm telling you. Hold on. Yeah, I love that. I love. It's the perfect length and everything too. Super, super cool. Just really, really different. If I could stop moving, you could see it a little bit better. So that's what it looks like on. Dumb microphone in the way, but just so you can see. You love my t-shirt. Thank you. My closet is full of rock and roll t-shirts. Like, that's like my whole wardrobe. Pajamas and rock and roll t-shirts. That's all I own. With the occasional like rogue NASA t-shirt or something, but yeah. So there you go. I love it. I love it. I think it's a lot of fun. It's really, really different. It's definitely my style. It needs a little bit more bling for me personally, but dang, I like it. Super cool. So I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Could you put the hole off center? I don't know if that would. Yeah, you could actually, now that you mentioned it. If you kind of put it more towards the inside instead of centered, that would definitely help. So that's a good idea. Yeah, if you still wanted to do the dangles, you could just off center that hole, just kind of more towards the corner a little bit, and that would definitely make a different look and, you know, make them hang more uniform. All right, I'm glad you guys like it. I always worry because when I do something out of the ordinary for me, I think, oh gosh, it's possible they might hate this. And I was so enthusiastic about it. It would have been funny if you guys would have been like, oh my gosh, that's ugly. And I'm like, no, it's not, it's great. So you never know. It's always a gamble, you know? All right, guys, that's it for me today. Actually, it's not it for me completely today. If you want to see me again, you can see me at 4 p.m. this afternoon. That's Eastern time over on the Jewel Loom group. I'll be with Jules. We're going to be talking about the original Jewel Loom some more because now we've got lots of people that have got brand new Jewel Looms from the Destination North Pole gift kit, right? So if you want to come over and hang out with us on the Jewel Loom Facebook Live, please come and do that. Otherwise, you can catch me on Monday at 4 p.m. on the Jesse James Beads website or on their Facebook page. And same time, same place right here every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern time. I've always got a fun project for you. Don't forget to come and join the Sarah Ellis Designs community Facebook group. And I'm putting together a D-Stash group. That's probably going to be coming up probably in about a week or two. That page or that group for Facebook will be ready as well. I had a lot of interest in that. So definitely keep your eyes open for when that opens. And a Snack Shenanigans is on the way. I'm just waiting on one more thing to show up in the mail. I'll even tell you what it is. Somebody posted on the Sarah Ellis Designs Facebook page or the group about the candy corn that was turkey dinner flavored. So they're like turkey, one of them's turkey, one of them's green beans, one of them is stuffing flavored, and one of them is like cranberry sauce. I didn't think they were real. I thought it was a joke. Looked them up online, totally a real thing, and I ordered some. That's the last thing on my list to show up. All of my other disgusting treats are already here. So get ready for some snack shenanigans coming your way pretty darn soon. Marianne says, is the stash group the sharing one? So the D-Stash group, it will have some rules and regulations just to keep everything nice and fair, but it will be a group where, because I have a huge stash, and I know you guys do too, it's going to be where we can swap, trade, and sell not finished pieces, but D-Stash charms, beads, pendants, supplies, materials, those things that you have excess of that you would like to unload onto somebody else. It's going to be that kind of group. And there will be some really strict, I mean, not so strict that you don't want to join, but there will be some strict rules and regulations just to keep everything legal, number one, and to keep everything fair and to keep everybody from, hitting any issues. So that will be coming soon. We had a lot of interest in that, and I feel for that. I understand. Number one, it's cool to swap with each other. Number two, it this time in our lives, we're watching our pennies, and it's, I'm one of those, like, want to get rid of things so that I can replace them with new things. And I can't justify that until I can find a new home for the other things. Does that make sense? So, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, there's no such thing as excess beads. There's really not. So no selling alcohol. No, Nicole, what? Why do you want to sell your alcohol? Just drink it. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Betty says she wants to watch the looks on on my face. Yeah, it's going to be a good one. I have clam flavored candy canes. That is so gross. Like, I can't even believe that's a real thing. All right, guys, that's it. I'm going to let you go. I will see some of you later this afternoon. I will see some of you on Monday. And if not, I will see everybody same time, same place right here next week on Sarah Ellis Designs with another fun project for you guys. Bye, guys.